Today we have the boy who planted a business. Please welcome Maddox Pritchard.
Hello, today we're here with Maddox Pritchard with his company's called The Measuring Shovel. So what's the Measuring Shovel?
So it's a shovel that has measurements from the tip of the blade, and it goes all the way up the handle, and then on the back of the shovel too, and it helps you measure how deep you're planting your plants. And anytime you're using a shovel, it just has many uses.
And did anyone inspire you to start this company?
Um, I mean, my dad for sure inspired me because he has his own company, and he's also in the agricultural business, so that really inspired me. And just also watching the show Shark Tank inspired me too, because I always thought I would love to be on there and just get to be one of them one day.
And how did you get this idea?
Well, when I was little, I always helped my mom, or I still do, but I always help my mom and my grandma garden, and I always have to use a measuring tape to see how deep and how far apart each of the plants were. So I thought it would just be good to combine them together, so I didn't have to use a measuring tape, which it was a big hassle to get it out and figure out the right depth and length. So if I just combined it together, I thought it would be a lot better or a lot easier.
So when I see a shovel, I imagine you live on a farm, so I don't imagine you had much experience on business at the time. How did you learn first to get the shovel patented and then to get it out to the market?
Well, actually, the main reason I built it is because my school, my school has. I was fortunate enough for my school to enter in this thing called the Invention Convention, and so that's just it's a. It was at a local college, and there's hundreds of kids from across my state there, and they all just had different inventions, and I actually won that, and which was very exciting. And then after that, the directors of the Invention Convention were nice enough to get me in contact with someone they knew who was a patent attorney, and really they guided me a lot through all this. And yeah, I really didn't know much, so and they guided me and just helped me all the way through it.
So what you're telling me is that when you first made the shovel, you made a prototype, you won a competition, and they thought your product was so good that they wanted to get the patent attorneys to actually patent your product. And
Yes.
after you got the patent attorneys, how did you get it out to the market?
Well, it's not on the market yet, but that's what after I went on the show Shark Tank, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get it made, hopefully licensed, and then that company will produce it and then put it out. But we also thought about that we might manufacture it ourselves. So that's what we're working on right now, and our process is just either getting it licensed with another company or manufacturing it and figuring out the best way to do that.
How did you get yourself well known?
Um, well, through Shark Tank is the main way. I tried out for Shark Tank in April of 2019, and so I tried out at this thing called an open call. So there's just a bunch of people all go there, and you just have 1 minute to give your pitch in front of the sharks, or not the sharks, but part of the casting crew is what they call them. And then they decide from there on if they want you to go on to the next round. And there was a lot of rounds to actually get to Shark Tank. And yeah, and uh, I forgot the number, but uh, there was like thousands of people that try out each year, and only like 200 get to make it to the show.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. What is the price of your shovel?
Um, well, we're thinking about probably around $30 per shovel. That's probably our base price, and also there's so many different kinds of shovels. There's shovels from 10 to 50 to over $100 for like the more experienced high end workers. So we think we could hope probably the first one would be around $30, and then maybe later on, hopefully get some more high end and better quality shovels to go in the more expensive like construction side.
And, and I heard that you got an investment from the sharks. How big was that investment?
It was it was 40,000 for 30%.
But you already got the the product patented, what is the next process you're trying to take to get it out to the market?
Licensing it really. The Sharks and I were trying to get a licensing deal with another big company who already make shovels, so we don't have to start making the shovels. We'll just sell my idea to them basically, and then they'll just put the measurements in the shovel, and then they'll hopefully send me royalties for every shovel that's made.
And if they send you royalties for every shovel that's sold, does that mean you can't sell to other stores?
Well, we thought about selling it to a big manufacturer like I don't know if you've heard of like Stanley Black and Decker or Fiskars. We weren't going to sell it to a one store. We were going to sell it to hopefully a manufacturer who sells their shovels to lots of stores.
And when you came on the show Shark Tank and you started getting a tiny bit more well known, would you say you got more friends thanks to it?
I would say got to know more people, but not any more friends. My friends and we've been friends for a while, ever since I started middle school. So, yeah, and they kid around with me about it, but yeah, I got to know a lot more people, but not not too much change in that.
And what I'm thinking right now is that why is your shovel any different from any other shovel? Like, does having a measuring label on it affect how the plants are going to grow, or how? Because I live in the city, so I don't really know about these things.
Well, if you ever if you ever garden, or really anytime you use a shovel, most of the time you're using a shovel, especially when you're gardening, all plants have like a tag on it, and it tells you how deep the plants need to be planted and how far apart they need to be. And because if you don't plant them that way, they can get overcrowded or they don't get enough oxygen, and this makes a lot of trees and plants die, and they don't produce the right amount of food, or or they don't let the right amount of oxygen back into the atmosphere.
And do they turn out differently if you just plant it with a normal shovel than your shovel? Like, do the like the stems inside the plant like tangle each other or something like that?
Well, yes. If you would plant like say you had two different plants and you planted them too close together because you didn't know, because you had a regular shovel, so you couldn't see how far apart they needed to be, then it would potentially make them die and not be very good plants.
Imagine for people who have planted their whole life, they probably already have a measuring shovel. But how do you get normal people, or maybe have a little small garden, to know how to use the measuring shovel? Because no one knows how far the plant should be to the other plant.
Right. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like so easy to use because it just has the measurements across the shovel, so anyone can use it. Like construction workers, when they're trying to figure out how deep their holes need to be to build stuff, and gardeners, everyday little gardeners, because everybody needs a shovel, right? And so the measuring shovel, it's really easy to use because you can just see the measurements and just put the plant right there, or dig how deep it is, and then you see how deep the hole is.
And for the moment, does it have a guide on it? Like when you bring the shovel over, does it say plant this amount down? Normal plant should be planted this height, because unless you're like been planting plants your whole life, you don't know the difference between how much a tulip plant should go down, or how much the mango tree should go down, because I
Right.
imagine they're different.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's like I said, most plants, like when you buy them from the stores, they actually have tags on them that tells you how deep you need to plant them and how far apart you need to plant them. So most of the time when you buy plants at the store, it tells you already on that plant.
When you start selling it, will you sell it online or in retail?
Mostly retail, because we thought about online. That would be a good option too if we could figure it out. But it's a big product, like I said, so that would be a lot harder to ship. So it would probably be mostly retail, but online would be a great option too if I could find a good way to ship it. And yeah.
And I imagine there's a bunch of kids just sitting on their beds with an idea maybe, but they have no idea how to get it out there. What would you recommend they do?
Um, for I would recommend for sure, if you have any competitions, like I said, that I got to, for sure that, but a lot of places don't have that. So I would say just talk to as many people as you can, get to know people around the field of your, especially of your invention or idea. Talk to people, figure out people who've done it before. Just learn as much as you can about it, and then try to get it. Hopefully, um, move on from there and try to put your idea in motion.
And why did you decide to start a company? Why didn't you just decide to use it for yourself?
Um, well, I think it's a great idea, and I think it would help a lot of people in a lot of different ways.
And how does it feel now that you already have the measuring shovel, you're so close to getting it out to the market, and you have a shark right behind you just to get someone to license it for you?
Well, it's really exciting, but yeah, we still have to do a lot of work to get it out there, but hopefully we can get it out there and on the market as soon as possible.
What is the worst part of being an entrepreneur?
The worst part, um, probably just the ups and downs of like everything, because for sure, like you're never gonna like have something perfect immediately first try. So like you always have to try and just like it's never just gonna work as you hope. It's just there's gonna be bumps and turns. So it's just you have to be ready for those and like push through those. That's probably the hardest part.
And what's the best part?
The best part, I mean, there's a lot of great parts, great things about being an entrepreneur for sure. In the long run, being your own boss, making money for sure, and then also just like I, especially me, I've had a lot of great opportunities outside of just entrepreneurship. I've gotten to do a couple speeches and just have a lot of the opportunities that it opens up is also just amazing.
Well, thank you so much for joining me for this interview today, Maddox. You have been great, and thanks.